Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Bhajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Bhajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Mr. Bhagavad Paramahansa Parudikacharya Ashtottara to the Sri Srimad Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai ISKCON BBT Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parudikacharya Ashtottara to the Sri Srimad Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai Ananda Koti Vaishnavinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Srimad Bhagavad Gita Ki Jai Samaveda Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. I'm going to have to take a time out here because we have a really big draft coming from somewhere. You don't feel it? Huh?
What are you saying?
I have to take a time out here to try to shut down the draft. There's a freezing draft. I think it may be coming from up there or back there. It's crazy.
It's not over here. Not that much. I perceive it's about but it could be over there quite a bit. What's your name? Arya? Are you visiting or living? Oh, okay. Better?
We'll see. Somehow it was coming right down on me here. Dualities of this world. Okay. Whatever. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay. On this 11th day of February, 2020 in SanDiego, we're reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is, translation and commentary by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. And we are on in chapter 9, the most confidential knowledge. Text number 34, Page 416. Manmana bhavamad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mame vaishyasi yuktaivam atmanam matparayanaha manmana bhavamad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru Mame Vashyasi Yuktaivam Atmanam Matparayanaha Manmana Bhavaman Bhakto Madhyaji Mam Namaskuru Mame Vashyasi Yuktaivam Atmanam Matparayanaha. You can take the chair if you want it. Go ahead, Arya. No, take the chair on this side. Yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Arya. Manmana bhavamad bhakto mandaji mam namaskuru mame vaishyasi yuktaivam atmanam matparayanaha Manmana bhavaman bhakto namaskuru namas madhyajim nam namaskuru mamai vaishyasi yuktaivam atmanam matparayanaha Manmana bhavaman bhakto Madhyaji mam namaskuru Mame vaishyasi yuktaivam Atmanam matparayanaha. Word by words. Manmana, always thinking of me. Bhava, become. Mat, my. Bhaktaha, devotee. Mat, my yaji, worshipper. Mam, unto me. Namaskuru, offer obeisances. Mam, unto me. Eva, completely. Eshyasi, you will come. Yukpa, being absorbed. Evam, thus, Atmanam, your soul. Matparayanaha, devoted to me. Translation. Engage your mind always in thinking of me. Become my devotee. Offer obeisances to me. And worship me. Being completely absorbed in me, surely you will come to me. Purport. In this verse, it is clearly indicated that Krishna consciousness is the only means of being delivered from the clutches of this contaminated material world. Sometimes unscrupulous commentators distort the meaning of what is clearly stated here, that all devotional service should be offered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Unfortunately, unscrupulous commentators divert the mind of the reader to that which is not at all feasible. Such commentators do not know that there is no difference between Krishna's mind and Krishna. Krishna is not an ordinary human being. He is absolute truth. His body, his mind, and he himself are one and absolute. It is stated in the Kurma Purana, as it is quoted by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami in its Anubhashya comments on Chaitanya Charitamrita, 5th chapter, Adi Lila, verses 41 to 48. Deha dehi vibhedo yam neshware vidyate kvachit. This means that there is no difference in Krishna, the Supreme Lord, between himself and his body. But because the commentators do not know this science of Krishna, they hide Krishna and divide his personality from his mind or from his body. Although this is sheer ignorance of the science of Krishna, some men make profit out of misleading people. There are some, please, on the side, if you would. Is that okay? Sure. Yeah, take a book. Take one with a book. There you go. We're on page 416. There are some who are demonic. They also think of Krishna, but enviously, just like King Kamsa, Krishna's uncle. He was also thinking of Krishna always, but he thought of Krishna as his enemy. He was always in anxiety, wondering when Krishna would come to kill him. That kind of thinking will not help us. One should be thinking of Krishna in devotional love. That is bhakti. One should cultivate the knowledge of Krishna continuously. What is that favorable cultivation? It is to learn from a bona fide teacher. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and we have several times explained that his body is not material, but is eternal, blissful knowledge. This kind of talk about Krishna will help one become a devotee. Understanding Krishna otherwise, from the wrong source, will prove fruitless. One should therefore engage his mind in the eternal form, the primal form of Krishna. With conviction in his heart that Krishna is the Supreme, he should engage himself in worship. There are hundreds of thousands of temples in India for the worship of Krishna, and devotional service is practiced there. When such practice is made, one has to offer obeisances to Krishna. One should lower his head before the deity and engage his mind, his body, his activities, everything. That will make one fully absorbed in Krishna without deviation. This will help one transfer to Krishna Loka. One should not be deviated by unscrupulous commentators. One must engage in the 9 different processes of devotional service, beginning with hearing and chanting about Krishna. Pure devotional service is the highest achievement of human society. The 7th and 8th chapters of the Bhagavad Gita have explained pure devotional service to the Lord that is free from speculative knowledge, mystic yoga, and fruitive activities. Those who are not purely sanctified may be attracted by different features of the Lord, like the impersonal Brahmajyoti and localized Paramatma. But a pure devotee directly takes to the service of the Supreme Lord. There is a beautiful poem about Krishna in which it is clearly stated that any person who is engaged in the worship of demigods is most unintelligent and cannot achieve at any time the supreme award of Krishna. The devotee, in the beginning, may sometimes fall from the standard, but still he should be considered superior to all other philosophers and yogis. One who always engages in Krishna consciousness should be understood to be a perfectly saintly person. His accidental non-devotional activities will diminish, and he will soon be situated without any doubt in complete perfection. The pure devotee has no actual chance to fall down because the Supreme Godhead personally takes care of his pure devotees. Therefore, the intelligent person should take directly to the process of Krishna consciousness and happily live in this material world. He will eventually receive the supreme award of Krishna. Thus end the Bhagavad purports to the 9th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita in the matter of the most confidential knowledge. So there's a backstory to this purport, and I'd like to share with you what it is. Some of you may not know. When Prabhupada so strongly is speaking about the unscrupulous commentators, he has one unscrupulous commentator in mind. The story is back in the 50s sometime, Srila Prabhupada had taken, I don't think he had taken sannyas yet, but he was vanaprastha, he was living separate from his family. And he was given charge of one of the temple ashrams in the Gaudiya Math. You know, Srila Prabhupada, do you know the history at all? I don't know how much. Okay. So Srila Prabhupada was part of a larger organization in the 30s, 40s, and 50s called the Gaudiya Math, which had been started by his own spiritual master named Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, whose appearance day is coming up on Thursday. And he was an amazing devotee, just as Srila Prabhupada was. And he was carrying on the work of his father, his exalted father, Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And so he built up this whole organization, 64 maths. He was printing thousands of books, different languages. And he actually sent some of his devotees abroad, not to America, but to England, to preach. They had full backing, funding. There was a special book, English book, that was written by one of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati's learned disciples in English, all about the teachings of Lord Chaitanya and everything. But they made no headway in England, and they had to come back, and it was very disappointing. So Srila Prabhupada was also given that mission to take Krishna consciousness out of India, to preach in English, and to spread it as far as possible. So he very heroically did that later on, beginning in 1965. But during the 50s, he was trying to work with his godbrothers. But they were, after Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati departed this world in, I think, January of 37, I believe. Fairly quickly, the whole mission kind of disintegrated. Each of the leading disciples, sannyasis, they tried to take a piece of it, claimed to be the acharya. It was kind of a very disappointing and tragic breakup. But Srila Prabhupada at that time was trying to work within the society, and so he was given this place, a temple, an ashram, and he was running the temple for his godbrother who was doing something else. I don't know, I forget what he was doing. So during that time, they would send out the brahmacharis to preach just as they are today. And one of them came back one day and said he had heard a lecture, I believe it was a lecture by Dr. Radhakrishnan, who at one point was the president of India. And he was speaking on this verse. And he was saying exactly what Prabhupada is criticizing in the first paragraph here. And that is that, and I have the book, he wrote his own Bhagavad Gita with commentary, which I have on my shelf. I bought it on Amazon. And sure enough, in his comments on text 34, he says, although Krishna says here, Manmanabha Madhyajimam Namaskuru, it is not to the person Krishna that we should surrender, but to the unborn, eternal, ever-existing within Krishna. As if there's something within and without of Krishna, just like there is with us. We're not our body. We are the soul within the body, right? That's the first lesson. But that's not so for Krishna. He's solid soul. He's Satchidananda Vigraha. He's pure spirit. There's no within and without. So that's a very destructive idea to have, because what that means is that it's not the person that we relate to, but it's the unborn. It's impersonalism. It destroys bhakti, really, to think that there's some undefinable spirit that we have to really focus on, and that Krishna is just a vehicle for that. Anyway, so that's what Prabhupada is railing against here, and he comes. So what happened is that Prabhupada responded to that idea in various essays, several I think that he wrote in Bengali that were later printed in a Bengali periodical that was coming out at the time. Later, these were compiled in a book by Bhakti Chirus Swami and translated into English, and it's called The Renunciation Through Wisdom. Maybe tomorrow I'll bring that relevant chapter and I'll read some of Prabhupada. I mean, he goes into detail refuting this idea, and it's quite remarkable. He's very exercised, because this is exactly what Prabhupada states is one of the most destructive forces. We're reading the Ishopanishad every morning. If you're interested, you pick it up online as a change of pace. And so in the Ishopanishad, which is also written in India, many devotees don't know that. The books Prabhupada wrote in India have a little different flavor, because he's writing not just to the Western audience, because he wrote in English, but he was writing to the Indian audience. And the verse we're on, text 12, those who worship the demigods enter into the darkest region of ignorance, but more so to those who worship and propagate the worship of the impersonal absolute. You see? And so, and then in that purport, Prabhupada is saying exactly what it says here, but he really expands upon it. Because after all, what is it that we're looking at? Did I say Om Jnana Timirandasya? I did. Okay, let's forget that. The great value of Srila Prabhupada's books and his whole presentation is that he's giving us the knowledge coming down from Krishna through this chain of disciplic succession, which has been carefully preserved without distortion, without personal motivation. The whole idea is that there's a pure channel. Prabhupada would call it the transparent via medium. This is his special use of it. It's really a transparent medium of what used to be known as channeling. People came to be channeling, I'm channeling so-and-so, But Prabhupada really is channeling Krishna. And he's not deviating from the words of Krishna here. And these commentaries that we have here, many of them, they're based on the comments of Baladev Vijayabhushan. At the very beginning of the book, it's dedicated to Baladev Vijayabhushan. Well, who is Baladev Vijayabhushan? He's a very prominent member of our parampara. He's a disciple of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. And his very name, Vidyabhushan, means he who has the ornament of knowledge. You're given that name when you're very learned, you know. So he wrote this commentary on the Bhagavad Gita, and Srila Prabhupada is following it. Not that he doesn't add his own comments, but that, especially when you find, as we will in chapter 10, as we're moving into chapter 10, probably tonight we'll read a few verses. When he gets to text 8, 9, 10, 11, these are said to be the 4 essential verses of the Bhagavad Gita. So in text 8, Krishna is declaring, I'm God, you know, I'm the Supreme Person, I've got it. Everything emanates from me, I've created everything, which is and so in that purport, there are many quotes from the Upanishads backing up Krishna's statement. You see, what we may not realize in our Western mindset, because we're not brought up in the culture, that many people in India, they give more credence and more authority to the Vedas themselves than to books that were following the Vedas, such as the Puranas or even the Bhagavad Gita. So these quotes from the Vedas substantiating Krishna's statement that I am God carries a lot of weight. And Prabhupada felt that he should put him into his Bhagavad Gita, because that's the essential understanding. If we have faith in that, then we can proceed with our bhakti yoga. That Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and I'm his eternal servant, and now let me act that way and learn that and enter into bhakti. So that, you know, he adds that. And again in the 11th chapter, at the end, text 54, 55, I think it's 54, many, many quotes from the Vedas and so forth, which are coming from Bhakti, from Baladev Vijayabhushan's commentary. So Prabhupada's a fighter. You know, he's on a battlefield here. And he's trying to save people. He's trying to save us, the souls who are a little bit receptive, interested, want to inquire into the Absolute, somehow to captivate them. And when other yogis and bogus, unscrupulous commentators come along and mislead people, Prabhupada gets fired up, and he's giving us the truth. It's a battlefield. It's for the hearts and minds of the innocent. So that's why you find in these purports sometimes some combative language here. So if there are no questions on these points, yeah, please, go ahead.
Okay, it says Krishna's body is not material.
Uh-huh.
Internal blissful knowledge. Okay, so I have a material body. Does he use Maya to present? If you touch him, what would it do?
I hope to be able to answer that question someday. No, it's not like that. It's that he's presenting this form, and when he comes to the material world, it seems to be a material body, and he can do things with that spiritual body that we can do with our material body, but he can do many other things, and it has certain characteristics that are not material. It never gets old. His body is never old. He's eternally youthful. That would be something useful to have as you get older, right? And so he through the so-called material energy, so that people can see him, like the deity form. The deity we also regard as spiritual, but we know that it's originally carved from stone, but it's been spiritualized because of the installation and the mantras and the way the deity is worshipped. And you can relate to Krishna through that form. And even if you're pure enough, you can even converse with the deity. That happens sometimes. And so, in somewhat a similar way, Krishna appears in this world, and he engages, he related to his mother, Mother Yashoda and Devaki, and, they suckled him and everything, So there was no, he presented a form that was just like a material form, so that people could relate to him on that basis. This is the really esoteric essence of the bhakti principle, is that Krishna responds exactly reciprocally to how you approach him. Now most people, Krishna, I don't know, that's some mythological figure in India. Let me get back to business here. I got so much stuff to do, right? I got to pay my rent, I got to go to work, I got to meet somebody, So they're worshiping Krishna through the material energy. That's also Krishna. This is a point that's made, again and again. What is that verse by Narada Muni? Idam hi vishram bhagavan hi vetara. This is one of the verses of his instruction to Vyasadeva in the 5th chapter, 1st canto. So, idam hi vishram bhagavan. That statement very simply means, it's not, the Sanskrit is as plain as day. This universe, idam, certainly, he is, Vishram is universe. Idam hi vishram bhagavan. Is Bhagavan. This universe is Bhagavan. What are we, pantheists now? No. What that means is that it's Krishna because it's his energy. Just like it's directly related to him. There's nothing else in this world but Krishna. Even in every atom, there's an expansion called the Paramatma. We can't see it that way. There's a curtain of Maya, so we separate this world from Krishna. We don't see behind the curtain, But it's nothing but Krishna's energies. And in a very important way, that's also Krishna. But if we relate to him through his energy and we forget the person Krishna, then we get the reciprocation is that we have to deal with the nature of matter. And the nature of matter is it's destructible. It's constantly changing. That's the word, this word for this world called Bhavasagara. That's one of the things. Means the ocean of change. Everything is changed. It's asat. The difference between sat and asat. Like we want to get satsanga, right? We don't want asatsanga. Asatsanga tyaga. Asat means the relative, the ever-changing, phantasmagoria of the material world. We're eternal, and we're in this ocean of change. So it's an incompatible situation. Our effort as living beings is to come again to that point of Satchidananda, which we lost. We lost it because we embraced this changing world because we could try to dominate it. In the spiritual world, we're servants. If we're out of that mentality, we have to come here, where we can be so-called masters, but it's an illusion. We can't be masters of anything, It's a great dream. You can see how fallacious it is. Every one of these so-called great, people we hear about in history, the Napoleons and the emperors and and everybody, they're all passed into the mist of time. They're gone. But they're not dead. Whatever they did, and probably, vicious activities to claw their way up to the top of something, then they have to suffer for all of that sin and that torment that they did on people. I just learned that. I had no idea. There was a genocide here with the Indians, the Native Americans. 90 million. 90 million were killed over the period. When was it? Like the 1700s, 1800s. You can imagine. It's horrific. You don't think there's some kind of a reaction for that? Anyway, but we forget that. We just live in our own little world, and so Krishna appears in a form just suitable for his purposes in coming to this world, and every so often he comes as he is. He has other expansions, Nishringadev and Lord Varaha we just celebrated, and other avatars. But the basic principle is he comes here to enliven his devotees, protect his devotees, reestablish Dharma. He doesn't come for his own purposes, because that he's doing in the spiritual world. He's coming for us. And as we approach him, he will reciprocate. So, but it's important, as you understand, he has a categorically different body than we have. There's no difference between his body and his soul. This little phrase, Deha Dehi Vibhedo Yam. Deha's body, Dehi is the dweller within the body. You see in the latter part of that first paragraph? He's quoting from this, which quoted in the CC. Deha Dehi Vibhedo. Vibhedo means difference. Difference between the body and the dweller in the body. I am na Ishware. For the Lord, there is never such difference. Vidyate kvachit. Kvachit means ever. There is never, ever a difference between his body and his soul. He doesn't have a soul. He's solid soul. Yeah. No, Satchidananda Vigraha. Vigraha is form, and Sat is eternal. Chit is full of knowledge, and Ananda is full of bliss. And that's what we are. in our inner essence. We've lost that. And we're trying to get it back in the material sphere, but it can't happen that way. The material energy just is never sat, it's always asat. That's its very definition. Asat. Means temporary, ever changing, you see. So asat, instead of being satchit ananda, we're asat, achit, and nirananda. we're temporary, full of ignorance, and suffering like anything. So, but this is the way to get back to that original. Bhakti is the way to regain our original form. So that's the understanding. Okay, so I was originally, maybe we can just do a quick review of this chapter. It's a very important chapter. As Krishna says at the beginning, imam vivashate yogam prokta. No, idam today guyatamam. Guyatamam means very confidential. My dear Arjun, because you're never envious of me, I shall impart to you this most confidential knowledge and realization, knowing which you shall be relieved of the miseries of material existence. Well, here we are, you know. We're not like Arjun, but we're fortunate enough to be hearing the same instruction. Then he praises it even more, the next verse. Raja vidya raja guyam pavitram idamuttamam. Pachakshabhagam susukam kartam, a well-known verse. This knowledge is the king of education, the most secret of all secrets. It is the purest knowledge, and because it gives direct perception of the self by realization, it is the perfection of religion. It is everlasting, and it is joyfully performed. Now this long purport here, I understood, was written as a separate essay. That was included probably in one of Prabhupada's Bhagavads or something. So it's a special flavor to it. So this is the king of knowledge, the king of secrets. Now, how is it a secret? We've distributed, I don't know, tens of millions of these Bhagavad Gitas all over the world in different languages. But what makes it secret is that the receptivity is rare. In other words, the idea that people are going to actually take this as something relevant to them and absorb it and act on it. That's what makes it secret. It's secret, confidential and secret in plain sight. It's like if you don't know the importance of something, then that it might as well be locked away in a safe somewhere. It could be sitting on a desk. But if you don't know or you don't value it, then the secret is the hidden because of the qualifications of the listener. But here Krishna is speaking it very openly. Basically, the secret is that last verse. We'll hear at the end in 1865, I don't mean the year, 18th chapter, 65th verse. The same verse is spoken again. And the same idea. This is, now again, I'm going to tell you this is the most secret of the secret. Just think of me, become my devotee, worship me, offer your homage to be bowed out to me. And then, but it's more intimate in the 18th chapter. I promise you this, you'll come to me because you're my very dear friend. So we can become Krishna's very dear friend. Now the qualities here, it's the king of knowledge, it's very, very secret, it's very purifying, it gives direct perception of the self, and it's happily and easily performed, and it's everlasting. This is the qualities of Bhakti Yoga that he's going to delineate here. Now, then he says something, then it gets very sobering. If you don't have faith, those who don't have faith in this devotional service can't attain me. Therefore they return to the path of birth and death in this material world. So this is our choice. If we practice bhakti sincerely, we can get out of this world and birth and death and go back to Godhead. So then he defines again about himself. He speaks authoritatively as no one else can. By me in my manifested form, this entire universe is pervaded. All beings are in me, but I am not in them. And yet everything that is created does not rest in me. So he's got two contrasting statements there. This is part of this is a very kind of Upanishadic thing. It's the hand, one hand clapping type of idea. He walks, but he doesn't walk. He sees, but he has no eyes. That type of thing. He doesn't have eyes like us. He doesn't have feet like us. So we're in Krishna, but at times he's outside of us. He's within us, without us. Although I am the maintainer of all living beings, and although I am everywhere, I am not part of this cosmic manifestation. Myself is the very source of creation. Then he gives an analogy. Understand that the mighty wind blowing everywhere rests always in the sky. All created beings rest in me. And let's see. He talks about the creation and destruction here. a son of Kunti, at the end of the millennium. Now, Prabhupada uses that word millennium. You know, he gives new meanings to words. Millennium means 1,000 years. Well, in Prabhupada's lingo, it means a lot more than that. End of the millennium means at the end of Brahma's day. I think he's talking about Brahma's day here. All material manifestations enter into my nature. The beginning of another millennium, by my potency, I create them again. The whole cosmic order is under me. Under my will, it's automatically manifested again and again. And under my will, it is annihilated at the end. Now, these are more or less definitions or expansions of the definitions of the Supreme Absolute Truth. That which is the source of everything, which sustains everything, and into which everything is merged at the time of annihilation. All this work cannot bind me. I'm ever detached from all these material activities, seated as though neutral. Now here, these 10 and 11 are really very often quoted. This material nature, one of my energies, is working under my direction, O son of Kunti, producing all moving and non-moving beings. Under its rule, this manifestation is created and annihilated again and again. So Prakriti, Maya, seems to be the source of everything. This is the scientists go. They keep investigating, finding more and more causes and trying to manipulate, But all of that is working under Krishna's direction. They don't see the ultimate intelligence behind everything. That's what we're aiming toward. I'm overseeing the workings of nature. She's not doing anything on her own. And that's the way this universe is working. Those who are fools, the fools deride me, says the mudhas, avajananti, when I descend in human form. They don't know my transcendental nature as the supreme Lord of all that be. And this is the the most amazing, ever, always astounding element of Krishna. He has all this power. He's infinitely powerful. He pervades everything. He has full knowledge. I mean, just the most jaw-dropping part of his glories is that he knows everything, every little thing that's happened in the past, forever. He knows everything that's happening now, and he knows everything in the future. That just boggles my mind more than anything else. And that's just part of his glories, So with all of that power, right, he still enjoys hiding all the power and coming down and tormenting his mother and fooling around with the boys, and everything. Because he enjoys the personal relationship. That's the whole thing. He doesn't enjoy lording it over. He says right in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, chapter 4 of the Adi Leela, it's a wonderful chapter. Krishna is explaining why he comes down, why he comes to earth, and then why he comes again as Lord Chaitanya. Krishna's Kaviraj is giving insight into his mind, and he's saying, when my consorts, my lovers, chastise me for being late to the rendezvous or something, that steals my mind away from the hymns of the Vedas. That's much more pleasing to me than all of this awe and reverence and worship and everything, which is often tinged, in many cases, with some material request. You're so great, please give me this, please give me this. So that's not pleasing to Krishna. What's really pleasing is, what's pleasing to us is the loving exchanges, relations with other human beings. And people are so atomized. This is the age of, I remember growing up, it was the age of alienation. This is really the age of alienation. There's so much people are alone. There's more households, I read today, in America with pets in them than with children. Yes. Yeah. Because people need something to love, Everyone is scattered all over the world. It used to be families were extended family, just like in India. Prabhupada grew up in a family, got the aunties, and you have, the extended family. Now, of course, there's a downside. You don't have as much privacy. But there's also a lot more security, a sense of belonging, and you're not just alone against the world, So why? You got to have some beings, so I'll put it all into the pet. The pets. There's a pet cemetery. You drive to New Vrindavan, there's a whole pet cemetery there with, fancy headstones and everything. Oh my God. So that's so then he goes on, the fools deride me. What happens to them? Everything they hope to accomplish is frustrated. Mogasha, their hopes become frustrated. Their activities are frustrated, or the attempts at knowledge is frustrated. And they're of the nature of rakshasas and asuras, cannibals and demons. And they've taken shelter. This is the key. They've taken shelter, ashrita, of the mohini prakriti, the bewildering energy. They think this material world is all in all. This is text 12 at the bottom of 392. And then by contrast, that word tu, manas tu. On the other hand, the Mahatmas, the great souls, they take shelter of the Daivi Prakriti, the divine energy. What does that mean? It means practicing bhakti, recognizing our helplessness in this world, bowing down, chanting Hare Krishna, praying to the Lord, and believing. They worship me with undeviating mind, bhajanchanana manaso, because they understand I am the source of everything and I'm indestructible. How do they worship me? Satatam kirtayanto mam. Here, right in the Bhagavad Gita, is about the kirtan. You know. Anyways, the story behind that. Prabhupada had a correspondence where one so-called professor, he was saying, well, where does it say in Bhagavad Gita that they should be chanting all the time like this? He saw them in the park, you know. Text 14, chapter 9. Satatam kirtayanto mam. Always chanting my glories and striving with great determination, bowing down to me. They're always connected to me. Then he says there are others that worship me indirectly through the material nature and so forth, but they just don't know that I'm the source. I am the ritual, I am the sacrifice, the offering answers, the healing herb, it's all me. I'm the grandfather, I'm the mother, father, I'm the, I'm the purifier, the syllable Om, I'm the Rig Sama Yajur Vedas, I'm the goal, sustainer, master, witness, abode, refuge, and most dear friend. I'm the creation and the annihilation, the basis of everything, the resting place, and the eternal seed. Now, this is one of many, verses like this. And then it says, okay, if I believe that, who else am I supposed to worship? Obviously, we should worship Krishna, right? A lot of this chapter, he's trying to wean us away from, just as in chapter 7, trying to worship this God, that God, No, it's worship Krishna. You'll be, I'm the source of the heat, I'm the source of the rain. I have both spirit and matter in me. Then, text 20, 21, and subsequent verses, he is trying to destroy the idea to worship some demigod. Demigods. Trividya mam somapapa tapapa. Those who are Trividya, those of the three Vedas that deal with the karma kanda, with worshipping rituals and trying to go to heaven. There's a portion of the Vedas like that. They may drink the soma ras, become purified, and they worship me indirectly to get to Svargatim, Svar is heaven. And let's see, purified of sin-free actions, they take birth in the pious heavenly planets of Indra, where they enjoy godly delights. What more do you want? Let's enjoy godly delights. And then he describes, when they've thus enjoyed vast heavenly sense pleasures, and the results of their pious activities are exhausted, my credit card is getting kicked out. My pious credit, it's gone. Now what happens? They return to this mortal planet again. Mortal is kind of the world of birth and death. Thus, what's the point? Those who seek sense enjoyment by adhering to the principles of the three Vedas achieve only repeated birth and death. In other words, don't do it. Don't be foolish and get allured by these visions of godly delights. It's a fool's errand. On the other hand, text 22, those who worship me always worship me with exclusive devotion, meditating on my transcendental form. To them I carry what they lack and preserve what they have. Now this phrase, yoga kshema, comes up. It's one of these Sanskrit idioms, which means, yoga here means what you need to live, and kshema means your security. This is, those two things, requirements and protection. Perfect translation. So Krishna says, I personally carry those to you. Not the godly delights, but you're headed toward delights that nothing on Indraloka can compare to. What could be more blissful than eternally being in Goloka Vrindavan? Every day is fresh and new, nothing is stale, playing with Krishna and relating to him in all kinds of rasas and games and things like that. That's it, eternal vacation in Goloka Vrindavan. No student debt, no cold, heat. Everything's... What can I say? Ananyaschintayanto mam. And then on the other hand, those who worship other devas, those who are devotees of other gods, worship them with faith. Actually, they worship only me, but they do so in the wrong way. Avidi purvakam. I am the enjoyer and master of all sacrifices. Therefore, those who don't recognize my true transcendental nature fall down. And if whatever you worship, that's where you go. That's the point. You worship the Devas, you go to the Devas. You worship the forefathers, you go there. You go to the Bhutas and the Pretas and the ghosts, some tree, you go there. But if you worship me, you'll come to me. It's a very simple principle. And it's easy. Just gather some, if you're poor, no problem. Some fruit, flour, water, milk. Offer it to me with love, I'll accept it. Very important principle. This just comes back to susukam, very easy and happily performed. Whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer, give away, do it as an offering to me. And that way you'll be freed from bondage to work and its auspicious and inauspicious result, good and bad karma. With your mind fixed on me in this principle of renunciation, you will be liberated and come to me. So these are basic principles of bhakti. I'm not partial to anyone. I'm equal to all, but those who worship me, I'm in them, they're in me. In other words, everyone is eligible. Even if you practice bhakti, but you're not pure, you perform some sinful activity, if you're still constantly engaged, then that's eradicated, and very soon you become pure. This is 31. And then he says to Arjuna, you declare it boldly that my devotee never perishes. In other words, the body will perish, but that consciousness will remain and will eventually come to me. And then important person 32, low birth, sinful birth, doesn't matter who you are, you can attain supreme destination if you take shelter in me. How much more so the righteous Brahmins. Therefore, then this line, Anityam sukam lokam imam pravajastamam, therefore having come to this temporary miserable world, engage in loving service to me. Engage your mind always and think of me, and so forth. So that's the chapter. And the interesting thing is, in this next chapter, Krishna said, okay, now I'm going to tell you again. And at one point, Prabhupada says, well, it's completed now. When he gets to, remember I mentioned there's 4 main verses here, starting with 8. So after 11, and Krishna says, and when someone worships me so sincerely, I give them the intelligence which they can come to me. I destroy the darkness in their heart. And then Arjuna says, yes, you're God. Param Brahma, Param Dhamma, Pavitram, Paramam Bhavana, supreme, pure. I fully accept everything you say. Okay, that's the end of the Gita. Now, let's fight, if he accepts, right? But no, that's not the end. Prabhupada explains it. Arjuna then, for our sake, he says, well, how can we meditate on you in this world? And then he gives a whole list of bodies of water on the ocean. We go down to the ocean, we can remember Krishna, and like that. So there's more exploration of themes that have already been stated in the remaining 8 chapters, beginning with chapter 10. All right, let's dip our toe into the water of chapter 10, the opulence of the Absolute. Shri Bhagavanu Vacha Bhuya eva mahabaho Shunume paramam vachaha Yatteham priyamanaya Vakshami hitakamya. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, listen again, O mighty armed Arjuna. Because you are my dear friend, for your benefit I shall speak to you further, giving knowledge that is better than what I have already explained. Purport. The word Bhagavan is explained thus by Parashara Muni, one who is full in 6 opulences, who has full strength, full fame, wealth, knowledge, beauty, and renunciation, is Bhagavan, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead. While Krishna was present on this earth, he displayed all 6 opulences. Therefore, great sages like Parashara Muni have all accepted Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now Krishna is instructing Arjuna in more confidential knowledge of his opulences and his work. Previously, beginning with the 7th chapter, the Lord has already explained his different energies and how they're acting. Now in this chapter, he explains his specific opulences to Arjuna. In the previous chapter, he has clearly explained his different energies to establish devotion in firm conviction. Again, in this chapter, he tells Arjuna about his manifestations and various opulences. The more one hears about the Supreme God, the more one becomes fixed in devotional service. One should always hear about the Lord in the association of devotees. That will enhance one's devotional service. Discourses in the society of devotees can take place only among those who are really anxious to be in Krishna consciousness. Others cannot take part in such discourses. The Lord clearly tells Arjuna that because Arjuna is very dear to him, for his benefit, such discourses are taking place. So I want to do something a little different tonight, and that is we're going to read this verse again tomorrow. But we have time for me to read one of my little poems. And you haven't heard this one in a while, if you never did. The sweet song. Your lips are sweet, your smile is sweet, your lotus eyes and face are sweet. So I've queued it up. And for our brave souls who braved the cold, came out, thank you. And for our internet crowd, cozy at home. This is the song I wrote in 2004. It at first was chanted in Divnomorsk, Russia. I was there for the festival. It's called Madhupati, the King of Sweet, inspired by Srila Vallabhacharya's Madhurashtakam. You ready for this? Now, what's interesting here, of course, it's really easy to rhyme when every line ends in the same word. But the whole thing would be completely trite if it wasn't about Krishna. If it's just about some human being, your eyes are sweet, your lips are sweet. You say, can't you think of anything else? But because it's about Krishna, it works. So it starts out like this. Your lotus feet and hands are sweet. Your waist and lotus navel sweet. Your threefold bending pose is sweet. O King of Sweet, you're sweet complete. Your lips are sweet. Your smile is sweet. Your lotus eyes and face are sweet. Your heart is sweet. Your name is sweet. O King of Sweet, you're sweet complete. Your jaunty peacock plume is sweet. Your forest flower garland sweet. Your bluish black complexion sweet. O King of Sweet, you're sweet complete. Your jewel ornaments are sweet. Your silken yellow garments sweet. Your flute and horn and staff are sweet. O King of Sweet, you're sweet complete. Your splendid golden belt is sweet. Your brilliant yellow tilak sweet. Your gunjaberry necklace sweet. O King of Sweet, you're sweet complete. Your glossy curly locks are sweet. Your dancing sidelong glance is sweet. Your eyebrows playful gestures sweet. O King of Sweet, you're sweet complete. Your voice is sweet. Your words are sweet. Your tinkling ankle bells are sweet. Your flute song and your laughter sweet. O King of Sweet, you're sweet complete. Your lips are sweet. Your smile is sweet. Your lotus eyes and face are sweet. Your heart is sweet. Your name is sweet. O King of Sweet, you're sweet complete. So it's going to have 3 sections. This verse is kind of the refrain. So now the baby pastimes. Your crawling in your yard is sweet. Your being dragged by calves is sweet. The elder gopis' laughter sweet. O King of Sweet, you're sweet complete. The elder gopis' plaints are sweet. Your feigning innocence is sweet. Your melting all their hearts is sweet. O King of Sweet, you're sweet complete. The clay you'd eaten earth is sweet. Your shoulders scolding you is sweet. Your opening your mouth is sweet. O King of Sweet, you're sweet complete. Your butter thievery is sweet. Your running from your mother sweet. Her binding you with ropes is sweet. O King of Sweet, you're sweet complete. Your lips are sweet. Your smile is sweet. Your lotus eyes and face are sweet. Your heart is sweet. Your name is sweet. O King of Sweet, you're sweet complete. Your cows and cowherd friends are sweet. Your giddy Govardhan is sweet. Your dear Yamuna river sweet. O King of Sweet, you're sweet complete. Your forest wanderings are sweet. Your footsteps and your gait are sweet. Your dancing and your singing sweet. O King of Sweet, you're sweet complete. Your jokes and playful pranks are sweet. Your generosity is sweet. Your love for your companions sweet. O King of Sweet, you're sweet complete. Your mimicry of birds is sweet. Your swinging from the bough is sweet. Your daily forest picnic sweet. O King of Sweet, you're sweet complete. Your nap beneath the tree is sweet. Your friends' massage and songs are sweet. Your soft and fragrant limbs are sweet. O King of Sweet, you're sweet complete. Your lips are sweet. Your smile is sweet. Lotus eyes and face are sweet. Your heart is sweet. Your name is sweet. O King of Sweet, you're sweet complete. Your moonlit autumn night is sweet. The forest heady fragrance sweet. Your flute song for the gopis sweet. O King of Sweet, you're sweet complete. Sorry. Hold on. Okay. Oops, that's not right. The gopis joining you is sweet. You're testing their devotion sweet. Their song of full submission sweet. O King of Sweet, you're sweet complete. Your love play with the girls is sweet. Your love play with the girls is sweet. Their pride at being with you is sweet. Your disappearance, bittersweet. O King of Sweet, you're sweet complete. Your secret rendezvous is sweet. Your dalliance with Radha sweet. Her love for you supremely sweet. O King of Sweet, you're sweet complete. The gopis' search for you is sweet. They're acting out your pastime sweet. Their moving song of longing sweet. O King of Sweet, you're sweet complete. Your coming back to them is sweet. Your pacifying words are sweet. Your blessed rasa dance is sweet. O King of Sweet, you're sweet complete. Your lips are sweet. Your smile is sweet. Your lotus eyes and face are sweet. Your heart is sweet. Your name is sweet. O King of sweet, your sweet complete. My humble hymn is no great feat, yet still I pray, O King of sweet, that with your favor it may meet, so you'll reveal your lotus feet. Gaur Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol. Okay, now let's adjourn for Kirtan. All glories to the Prabhupada.